Save us from the fake liberals who want to control everything we think, say, and do. And save us from the fake Greens who are prepared to destroy the environment and the economy in the misguided pursuit of net zero. Welcome to another thought-provoking episode of Love Not Fear. I'm Jack Cox, author of Love Not Fear. And I'm on my own tonight, although I may be joined by Barnabas England later on. So what we're going to talk about? Well, we might talk about 1984. George Orwell's excellent prediction. Orwell was a great prophet. Of course, this prediction didn't actually come true in 1984. We had to wait a few more years for it. It certainly seems to be with us now. He didn't give Klaus Schwab a German accent. Klaus Schwab giving him a German accent like soon after World War II might have been giving out mixed messages. But he certainly predicted Klaus Schwab's New World Order. George Orwell wrote 1984, teach people about the negative things that would happen if we allow our governments to become too powerful. Orwell wrote about a totalitarian regime that he called Oceania, that's able to manipulate the citizens into believing anything, which gives the party absolute control. The book is set in 1984 in Oceania, one of the I can't even say it. One of the perpetually warring regimes, the two others being Eurasia and East Asia. Oceania is governed by an all-controlling party, which has brainwashed the populace into unquestioning obedience to its leader, Big Brother, Klaus Schwab. Today, we're supposed to believe that we have a choice of parties, but more and more of us are starting to wake up to the fact that both wings belong to the same bird, and it's just an illusion of choice. So what George Orwell spoke about as the party can apply pretty much to whatever's going on here now in our present age, whichever party happens to be in power at the time. The party in Oceania has created a propaganda language called Newspeak, which is designed to limit the free thought and promote the party's doctrine. Its words include doublethink, a belief in contradictory ideas at the same time, which is reflected in the party's slogans: war is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength. The party keeps control through the thought police and continual surveillance. You know, a bit like now, really, isn't it? It's getting more and more like that every day here in the West. The main protagonists in Orwell's story are Winston Smith of the outer party, O'Brien of the inner party. There's also Julia, who is Winston's love interest, and Emmanuel Goldstein, the leader of the resistance. The story tells of a new world order that arose out of the nuclear war of 1965. In the New World Order, atomic weapons are banned, but not war. Only by maintaining the strain, tension, and fear of continual conflict could the ruling party keep its absolute power. But the rebel leader and conspiracy theorist, Emmanuel Goldstein, believes that the war is not real. Nothing the party says is true. Nothing the party does is good. The party wants people to believe that they are at war so as to channel their aggressions away from the party and keep them living in fear. Goldstein says that even Big Brother is not real. The real rulers are unknown, faceless manipulators. According to Goldstein, the party drops bombs on its own people. A bit like 9/11, what? He urges the people to open their eyes and to see the evil that is being done to them. Does any of that sound familiar? Is any of that happening today? Are all the wars we read about really happening? Do our politicians actually serve the people? Or are they serving themselves while controlling us with fear? Indeed, are the faces we see on our screens the actual people that are running the country? Most of you watching this show probably already believe that they're puppets of Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. But are there actually others behind them pulling their strings? The people of Oceania would not listen. They called Goldstein a traitor for going against the party. They weren't listening then, they're not listening now. Perhaps they never will. How many friends have you lost over the last 3 or 4 years? Because people didn't want to see. They didn't want to open their eyes to the fact that the people are being controlled by fear, fear of war, fear of rising prices, and fear of a man-made virus. And now we're starting to see a new plan emerge, aren't we? We're starting to see the governments of the world clamping down on the farmers so that in a short while, they'll be able to threaten us with something else, hunger. Nobody can believe that any of this is genuine. In the book, as in real life, in the book, as in real life, thought was tightly controlled and censorship was the norm. Winston Smith started to keep a diary, knowing that if he was caught, he could face the death sentence. Now, that hasn't happened yet, as far as I know. As long as people keep their writings private to themselves, then they seem to get away with it. But publish, as Julian Assange has done, and expect to rot in prison for a very long time. In the book, spying equipment, known as telescreens, were installed in every home. Now, that technology is more sneaky and goes by the names of smart TV, Alexa, and Siri. Orwell didn't foresee digital ID, but he did have his characters forced to wear ID badges whenever they left home. Winston Smith's job was to rewrite history for the Ministry of Truth. A bit like modern day fact checkers. Their screens told them who to hate and what to believe, just like now. The people are encouraged to think and to talk in newspeak, where everything is backwards. The language was altered and new dictionaries were issued. If you ever compared a modern day dictionary with one 20 years ago or 40 years ago, you might be surprised. I was. One of Orwell's characters says, "It's a beautiful thing, the destruction of words. When the language is perfect, the revolution will be complete. It's an encouraging thought that by 2050, not one single person will be able to have the conversation that we're having now." God, that's chilling, isn't it? That's frightening. He then goes on to say about the food he's eating. He says, "There's not a single piece of meat in this stew, but it looks like meat and it tastes like meat. Double plus good." Well, that's happening now, isn't it? There's more fake meat coming out of factories than proper meat coming out of farms. It was party policy to destroy the nuclear family and to abolish the concept of love between a man and a woman. Children had to belong to the party rather than to their parents. Any of that sound familiar? In our time, the party is heavily pushing homosexuality and transgenderism on the children in order to disrupt the natural order of things. Big Brother drove people to hate each other. The party was afraid of love because love makes a world that they could not control. Children were encouraged to spy on their parents, a bit like what happened here during lockdown. Juliet said, "They can make us say anything." Winston replied, "Yes, but they can't make us believe it. They can't get inside our heads." How wrong they were. At the end of the torture, they had both betrayed each other and everything that they thought was real. Winston was given a book. After his arrest, they tried to make him believe that the book never existed and he had a false memory of it. Same thing happened with a photograph that he saw of two so-called traitors. They tried to make him believe that the photograph never existed. Everything fades into the mist. The past is erased, the erasure forgotten, and the lie becomes truth. Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. Wars and rumors of wars. If you include the Cold War, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, has been at war almost continuously since it was formed in 1949. And of course, there was Korea and Vietnam, which most NATO countries kept out of. In accordance with the principles of doublethink, it doesn't matter if a war is real or not, or when it is, that victory is not possible. War is not meant to be won, it's meant to be continuous. The essential act of modern warfare is the destruction of the produce of human labor. A hierarchy, I'm quoting from the book now, a hierarchical society is only possible on the basis of poverty and ignorance. In principle, the war effort is always planned to keep society on the brink of starvation. The war is waged by the ruling group against its own subjects, and its object is not victory against the enemy, but to keep the very structure of society intact. The past is the past is forbidden. Is that why now we're tearing down statues? So Winston was tortured after his arrest, and they tried to make him say that 2 and 2 equals 5. Your mind says that 2 plus 2 equals 4. But if the state says 2 plus 2 equals 5, how many? O'Brien gave Winston electric shocks, then held up 4 fingers and asked him, how many? He answered 4. More shocks followed until eventually he answered 5. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Sometimes. But if the state says it's 5, then it's 5. Today, men can't have babies, but you try saying that. If the state says they can, then they can. And it's unsafe to insist otherwise. People have been arrested, people have been put in prison, people have been banned from football clubs. Just for saying a man is a man and a woman is a woman. If the state says safe and effective, it's unwise to mention the millions of deaths. A friend of mine just got a 7-day ban on YouTube for saying the same thing. We're talking about the deaths. For saying the jab isn't safe and effective. Okay, she wasn't imprisoned or tortured, but who knows what the future may hold. 1984 was a story of the future, but it ended by saying that it could be a story of our children if we fail to preserve their heritage of freedom. We know now how well our heritage of freedom is being eroded before our very eyes day by day. And Orwell's 1984 dystopia is fast becoming our cold reality. It's still early days, but it's the beginning. If you want a vision of the future, imagine a boot stamping on the human face forever. But it doesn't have to be that way. This is the whole point. A better way is possible. We can turn it around before it's too late. That's what my book and this channel are all about. Every week we talk about something we can do to turn things around. It may be a healing modality to free us from the medical industrial complex. It may be a new way of thinking about our history that can help us to better understand where we may have come from and where we may be going. It may be talking about the changing seasons and how we can better live in harmony with Mother Earth and the web of life that keeps us all alive. Or it may be about possible economic or political ideas to set us free from the party. The two things I'm particularly excited about at the moment are community gardens and don't pay me back, pay it forward communities. I'm heavily involved with a community garden here in Glastonbury, where I live. Glastonbury Healing Gardens. If you're in the area, please do come along and give us a hand. I'll put the details in the show notes. Glastonbury Healing Gardens is a community healing garden in Glastonbury. We are situated on a beautiful south-facing site on the Michael ley line with a healing spring known as the Mother Spring in the centre of the land. We offer much more than just organic gardening, although that's important. At Healing Gardens, we heal through companionship and through sharing the nutritious organic food that we grow together. Our members come from the local area and some from further away. We all love the gardens and the feeling of community that we share together here. Each member has a particular job that we love and value, the vegetables and the flowers that we help to grow. We support people with stress and mental health issues, as well as physical illnesses. We are an eco-community dedicated to working in harmony with the sacred land on which we grow, whilst offering our members the opportunity to reconnect with nature, each other, and ourselves. Healing Gardens Cooperative started in the summer of 2007 with the aim of turning an unused field adjacent to Healing Water Sanctuary into a tranquil communal garden space. The vision is for local residents to have access to land so that they can nourish themselves with homegrown organic produce and educate themselves into its production. We garden on a no-harm basis, creating biodiversity and have a rich ecosystem of indigenous wild plants and insects, including 3 beehives. We also have fruit orchards and a wildlife pond. Animals in the gardens include a herd of deer, hares, rabbits, badgers, frogs, and toads, grass snakes, and slowworms. They are a protected species. Growing in love. Healing Gardens is about more than gardening. It's about healing and building community. We are a group of people that have grown to love what we do in the gardens and how we interact as a community, supporting and inspiring each other. The saying that the sum is greater than the parts is especially true of our gardens. Growing in love is also about being conscious of the whole planet and our need to love and protect it. Life on the patch of Earth, where we sow our seeds, to the wider planet that gets influenced and inspired by our ideas, so that together we can build a better, more environmentally sound future for many generations to come. We grow a diversity of vegetables and flowers. The orchard. There is an orchard of fruit trees, which is currently being transformed into a forest garden, following the principles of Robert Hart. Soft fruit areas. We have a concentrated area of soft fruit with a variety of different berries, providing maximum nutrition. Bees. The addition of bees to the gardens means that we have maximum pollination of our crops. And indeed, they adore the borage, which grows in abundance here. I'm there every week, 4 days a week, Tuesday to Friday. So you're very welcome to come down and give us a hand. I'm also in the process of establishing an online don't pay me back, pay it forward community called Let's Help Each Other to Thrive, where we just do things for one another with no money changing hands. So we need to be informed about what's happening, but we don't need to be inundated. Our habitual dominant thought patterns need to be on utopia. We create what we think about the most. The fifth dimensional new Earth that we are creating. We need to keep our vibration high. A couple of years ago, my lovely friend Emma Barker Hall made a very beautiful co-creating the new Earth Together meditation. And I'll play that for you just after we've had a little chat with the other people that are here. So what do you think of all that lot, Catherine?
I find it really interesting. I've got a perspective that you've not mentioned there, but I like to throw it into the mix. About 1984, I actually think that was a statement of intent. That it was actually a book that was putting out what the intention of the powers that be sort of intend for humanity. Not that so it is a case of like where the attention goes, you actually create it. And the more book sales, the more we actually look at that, and more we say, oh my goodness, he was spot on. We as creator beings then put more attention to it, and therefore we create it, we allow it in our creation process, so therefore it becomes the world that we see. And it was so clever. The book is so clever. When you look at exactly what's unfolding now, you can actually see it. But when you look at it as a statement of intent, the more we all put the focus on the book and say, "Oh God, he was great. He was amazing. How could he ever see so far in the future?" I don't think he saw in the future. I think he actually said, "This is how it's going to be." So he was privy, some say, to knowledge, and therefore, knowledge that the common man doesn't have. So just as an option, maybe he was. And therefore, when you actually, it's like planting a flag, say, like when we all say, this is where we're going to go, then you focus on it, you actually create it. And I do believe that at this moment in time, we're at a crossroads where we can look at that, we can look at the intention, but I feel that we have to let it go. I feel we need, it's like look left, look right, where the crossroads. When you look right, you vision where we want to go as humanity, where we as heart-based people are beginning to realize that this information has been kept from us, how we actually create as humanity. And now we are beginning to understand and see this, and we know that we can plant our flag in the golden future. And the more we turn away from that, it dissolves. So you look left, it dissolves. There's no point in rehashing all they want they do this, they want that, because we're giving it focus, we're giving it attention. And at the same time, I understand there has to be an awareness of what's happening, because we can't bury our heads in the sand, sort of thing. But I do believe that the power um, of us as creator beings has to be on what we are creating for the good of all. And the other thing is, like, as you know, we're doing, Andrew and I are involved in Way Pledge, which is just the same. You know, it doesn't matter what you call it. It's basically, it is creating a future where we all recognize that we are the value. We, as humans, it doesn't matter. Money is an insert. We have to get rid of that, where we put power in the hands of people that control us by numbers. And so therefore they're the same people that were, you know, stating that intent with that book, 1984, or whatever information that they put out, in order for us to mistakenly focus on. And when we focus on it, we're building more of it. No, we need to keep that focus and move it that way, so we are creating for what we all want to create from the heart. And so I do believe that what you're doing and what we're doing, it's all the same thing. We're going back to how we recognize the value of each other. And the insert of money, the numbers, the zeros or whatever, doesn't really matter. You can't take money with you. You can only, for me, my intention is to change the frequency of how I see the world by just like letting all that go, letting the conditioning go, letting the intent. Yes, okay, I can see where 1984 is going, but I'm not building that. I'm building this going forward. And the more of us that are realizing that, it is, yeah, and the more of us do it, and the more of us keep that focus there, then others who are, it's not like sort of there's no difference in people. We're just at different levels of creation, and some people are just happy with their lives where they are, and that's absolutely fine. But when they're given an alternative where the future is golden, so to speak, who wouldn't choose it? But it has to be the frequency of it, and the dimensions. What you were saying something before is like, I see that we're all actually living in different dimensions as we are here now. When you see a beautiful world, when you focus on the beauty, you're living in a different dimension in the here and now. That's my point. That's what I'd like to say.
I agree with you. Absolutely. Barnabas, you haven't said a lot.
I was just thinking about George Orwell's real name was Blair, Blair. I think you probably mentioned that before I got here, knowing you, Jack. But back in 1970, Frozen to Death, when I followed David Bowie around, he announced the end of Ziggy Stardust at the Hammersmith Apollo. And then what are you going to do next? Well, he did a covers album, Pin-Ups, but then he started to write a musical. He'd always wanted to write a musical, and he was going to write a musical on 1984. Mm-hmm. And he went to George Orwell's widow and said, could I have permission to use the book? And she said no.
Oh.
And having written a number of songs, which he didn't want to go to waste, it came out as Diamond Dogs.
That's what?
The Year of the Diamond Dogs.
Oh, yeah.
So,
okay.
yeah, because I'm this part of my incarnation here is a David Bowie fan. When I first went online, I wasn't Barnabas, I was Bowie Boy. So it's just interesting to me that if you're gonna make a musical, why not go for 1984? And he's got a song called 1984, and he's got a song called "We Are the Dead," which is a well-known statement from 1984. So yeah, this dystopian society that Orwell painted was a much darker one than the one in Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. And yet it was still what we call, well, what Catherine calls the manipulati, running the show and making us all comply. And what the Way is doing, and what you yourself have done with your website for quite a while now, and your group, Jack, is to say, we're having none of it. You know, you can have all your plans for the way the human race is going to turn out, but we're, just like Catherine just said now, we're not going to put our attention on any of that. What we're going to do is create an alternative society where all you need is love.
All we need is love.
And that's it. I mean, if you can replace everything that is negative about our society, about our humanity, about our world, with one thing, it's going to be love, or maybe you call it kindness. So I think probably a little bit different to Catherine. I don't see it as he had some inside information when he wrote the book, but he could see the way things were going and didn't want it to work out that way. It was a warning. Don't let it go this way. And I know that one of the things that you said you were going to do with tonight's show was to say how much of his prediction, if that's what 1984 is, has actually come to fruition and what hasn't. And because I've arrived late, I'm going to have to watch it back now to find out what you had to say.
Come on time, Barnabas.
If you'd have bothered to show up when we told you it was going to be, it's the same time every week.
What's he like, eh?
But there is an alternative to 1984. He wrote the book in 1949, didn't he, George Orwell? So it's like saying 35 years from now. So that would be 2059. If somebody wrote a book now, it wouldn't be 1984, it'd be 2059. And it sounds an extremely long time away, but it isn't, because 1984 has come, been and gone. So don't let anybody watching this show put your muscle, your arm to the wheel, and make sure that love is the thing that triumphs and not dystopia.
Yeah, well, George Orwell, he worked for the BBC, didn't he, during the Second World War? And whether or not he actually had inside information, I don't know, but he would have certainly picked up a few ideas. He'd have seen things that you and I didn't, not you and I weren't even born then, but things the ordinary people didn't see. He'd have seen how corrupt the reporting was for a start.
I retract what I said earlier.
What's that?
That I don't think it was inside information. Maybe it was. I stand corrected. Well, I sit corrected, should I say?
Yeah. Right. Well, that's it. We're going to do the meditation.
So we're just going to get ourselves in a comfortable position, keeping your feet flat on the floor. Try to keep your back straight. And just take some nice, gentle, easy breaths. And on the in-breath, just breathe in goodness and light from around you. And on each of your out-breaths, just blow out and release, let go of any stress, anxiety, tensions, aches and pains in the body. But just gently breathing round that cycle, breathing in the goodness, and as you breathe out, just letting go of anything that you don't need anymore. And just imagine that you're connecting to the light of the universe, and just sense that energy, sense that bright, healing light above your head and connecting with your crown chakra. And just again, with each breath you take now, just breathing that light in into your mind, and inside your mind's eye you can see this light a bit like a candlelight, shimmering, glittering, and just allow this light to move down through your body. On each in-breath you take, bring the light into your body, through your head and your shoulders, down your arms, down your spine. See the light spiraling round each and every vertebra, cleansing and strengthening. And allow the light over your chest and into your heart space. And really let your heart space expand with the light. Breathe it in and feel it. Allow love to expand in your heart. And still on down, the light goes through your stomach, your hips, through your thighs and down your calves. And just knowing that the light is cleansing and healing every cell and every fibre that it touches. And on down through your ankles and into the soles of your feet. And you might feel a tingling on the soles of your feet, and I just want you to imagine letting that light out through the soles of your feet, and imagine it like roots and shoots and ribbons of light going into the earth, giving you a really secure, firm footing, grounding you and connecting you to the very solid, powerful energy of the earth. And so from this lovely balanced space of being connected to the earth and to the universe, centered in your heart, all you need to do now is just follow my words. Visualize, allow images to pass through your mind, and enjoy. Energy follows thought, so be here now. Be here in the present moment. The present moment holds the potential for change. Consciously, mindfully, and purposefully release all fears and anxiety about the past and the future. What is gone is gone. You cannot change the past. And worrying about a future that has not yet manifested just drains your energy. We can't physically control what happens in the outer, wider world. However, we can have control of our inner world. We are at a tipping point, and now is the time. The time to stand together for humanity, for love, for peace, to be the change we want to see, to remember what powerful entities we really are. Some people say seeing is believing. I say believe it, then you will see it. So just gently now, feel the quiet strength and power within you. Feel your connection to that universal light, that healing energy. Prana, Chi, Arwen, whatever name you call it, know it is one and the same. It's the fabric of the universe. Feel its power surge through you, pulsing deep within your heart, expanding your soul and strengthening your resolve to create a new heaven on earth. Remember, you are not alone. Sharing a clear, positive vision of hope with others will magnify your thoughts and intentions. Focus your attention on the new earth, new ways of living and being, new ways of sharing and supporting each other, all in a world without fear and domination. Imagine a world where every man, woman and child are free to be the beautiful, magnificent, creative, spiritual beings they were born to be. Imagine a world where resources, food, water, energy, shelter, health and knowledge are readily available to all. Imagine unleashing the creative talent of all beings, communities forming and coming together to share skills and resources. Imagine listening to sublime music that heals ourselves, the very fibre of our beings, healing our collective soul groups. Imagine tending to homegrown, flourishing food gardens that nourish our health. Imagine being so inspired by beautiful art that it takes your breath away. Imagine listening to enchanted storytelling, a story that brings back magic into our lives. Imagine sharing dance and movement and raising our raising our vibration, increasing our health and healing. Imagine a world where every man, woman and child are encouraged to be themselves, beautifully individual and unique, encouraged to truly follow their passions and dreams, and to shine with a brilliance that inspires others, and to give freely of their talents and abilities, just for the joy of giving and sharing and contributing. Imagine being at one with your higher self, your innate knowledge and inner wisdom. Imagine being guided from your heart center, standing heart to heart with people in your community, knowing that they are interacting with you also from a place of love, peace, joy, and abundance. We are remembering. We are remembering who we truly are. Our collective health and healing will bring about a united oneness, an ability to know ourselves. Having the ability to know ourselves allows us to know and love one another. We will see beyond the physical body to the sacred spiritual beings that we truly are. We will have access to ancient knowledge. Hidden knowledge will become common knowledge. So shine, beautiful being. Shine your light. Be one with your inner self. Feel your power, your force, your strength. And as you shine, you inspire others to do the same. So I'm going to leave you for a little while to hold your vision of the new Earth high. Feel the vibrations in your body. Feel the ripples of transformation coursing through your body, your aura, and moving out into our world as we collectively manifest our vision of heaven on earth. I'll call you back in just a few minutes, but just really enjoy, feel the energy, see your own visions, and remember any insights that you're given. from wherever you are. Gently, gently come back to my voice. There's no rush, take your time. But as you come back, bring back that amazing energy that you've generated in your heart center. And just know every time you do this and you visualize this, we are manifesting, we are creating our new reality. We do have the power. It's exciting. Exciting times ahead. So gently, gently, just taking a few deep breaths, bringing your conscious awareness back inside your body, back into the room where your physical body is sitting. And if you need to, just twiddle your toes, twiddle your fingers, maybe put your hands together, put your hands over your heart chakra, over your heart space, and just feel the vibration of your body. And gently, gently coming back. And if you open your eyes and you feel just a little bit lightheaded, a little bit dizzy, then just close them again, and if it helps, just touch the top of your head, your crown chakra, and just ask that you're grounded and connected. Just bringing your energy back in a little after all that expansion that we did. And again, just think of your feet firmly on the floor. Think of the earth beneath you. Feel grounded, feel connected. Back, centered in your body. And just give thanks for the time that you've managed to take to be still and quiet and to visualize. And to create your image of a new earth, a heaven on earth. Blessed be everyone.
So if you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble, please do like, share and subscribe because it helps us get out to more people. So thank you both very, very much for coming. And we'll see you all again next week. And Annie as well, hopefully next week.
Okay, namaste.
Namaste.
See you soon. Bye for now. Bye.